All right, Sistas fans, it seems the closer we get to October 13th, the more articles that come out showing cast interviews of Sistas. In this one, we're going to be talking about Trinity Whiteside, aka Preston, talking about he hopes Preston can man up for Danni. So, as always, I will leave a link to this article in the comment section below so you can check it out in its entirety. I think it's actually a pretty good read. Of course, I'll talk about it during this video, but it's always good to kind of sit back and read it for yourself. But then again, I pretty much make my career talking about things that are pretty much in front of everybody, but hey, it's all good. I mean, this is where we come to talk about this kind of stuff, right? So make sure you give this video a thumbs up in order to show you like the video. Hit subscribe because, well, with the new channel name, I want to see if we can hit a huge milestone, being 200,000 subscribers in the near future. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. And go ahead and hit that bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post new content on the channel. So, I know it sounds weird as a person who just views the show versus the person who plays the character and obviously knows where the story's going further than we do. Tyler Perry is writing season 4, unless he's already done writing season 4 right now. And of course, Trinity knows how season 3 ends. But let me just go over parts of the article. There's one part I have to say I disagree with. And like I said, I'm speaking as a fan who's watching this one episode at a time like everybody else, not the actor who actually plays it. Okay. The article starts off, it's pretty funny. Danni and Preston don't have a clever couple nickname or a social media hashtag on Sistas, but they do have undeniable chemistry that makes fans root for them on the beloved BET drama. Now, I will agree with that. I mean, they don't have the Zatima tagline, but I do feel like, especially starting season 2, well, ending season 1 as well, we're definitely rooting for Preston and Danni. Okay, so Trinity says that there's still hope for the couple, even though Danni kicked out his character in the season 3 mid-season finale. Preston wanted to get closer, but Danni wanted her space. And viewers will find out what happens next for the two when the show returns October 13th. Alright, now here's what he said that had me going, They can overcome Danni wanting more space, but there has to be dialogue. It's not going to rectify itself overnight, and they can't ignore it and hope things get better on their own. If they keep doing that, the frustration, especially from Danni's point of view, will keep building and festering. Now, I agree with everything right there. Okay, now here's the part that had me going, wait a minute. Preston has to be the one to start the conversation, so it's not always Danni putting the first foot forward. I disagree wholeheartedly with that. And I'm not saying that because I'm a man like, well, a woman needs to say what she's feeling. Well, kind of, yeah. But I feel like that goes for any partner, gender, or what. Any party within a couple. It's better to have things discussed than to fester. That's not even just for relationships, families, friendships, workspace. My issue is the fact that Danni has been the one who has been hiding behind the facade of comedy and crude, comments and whatnot, and just anger and somewhat bitterness, as opposed to Preston. I mean, if you look at the last few episodes, who's been the person trying to actually talk with the other in the couple? It's Preston. Even if obviously he doesn't know what's going on because Danni hasn't made it clear, it's just the little things. Oh, I'm coming home late. I'm working an extra shift. I don't just, I'm not going to be around that much. So basically Preston is the one's like, hey babe, how's your day been? Here's what happened to me. What about you? So I feel like Preston being the one to start the conversation, it should be Danni because, she did mention that. Because the article says, let's see, Danni comically explained the difference between a hoe and a hoedown. But yeah, you literally push Preston away. I mean, if nothing else, Preston was made to be the one who was the problem, based on how Danni acted in her dialogue and whatnot. Obviously, as viewers, we're all saying the same thing. Danni needs to get it together. It's just ridiculous that, Preston is the one that always has to be the one to make the first move. Given the fact that Danni was the one that invited him to stay and everything, but how hard would it be to just say, hey, without being rude or just trying to, to be funny about the situation, just say, hey, you know what? I don't mind you staying here, but what if I thought Danni had better conversations with other characters like Sabrina and Zach as opposed to Preston. What more do we have in common than liking sex? How about we go out more instead of just staying in? How hard is it to say that? That way, when they both are at home, it's like, well, hey, you remember what we did last week or last night? Or what do you want to do later this week, when we're both off? So I just feel like, do I want them to overcome the obstacles? Because it seems to me like Danny's the one who's setting up obstacles that Preston has to fight to even have a conversation about so they can work through the things together. It just feels like so many other pairings or characters in the show where when it seems like these two make a huge milestone in overcoming something. Like, I feel like season 1 did it best, where Danni talked about insecurities and whatnot, and her and Preston really seem to move forward in their, not relationship, but their dynamic together. But then we get to season 2 and she just starts acting weird for no reason at some point during the season. And then in season 3, I don't even know what to say for Danni anymore. So yeah, but the article goes on to say a lot of great things, given the fact that Trinity is biracial. His father is African American, his mother is white, and my cousin's best friends and wife are all African American. And I love what he has nothing but great things to say about Mignon, aka Danni. Playing a character who is white has been eye-opening for me. Obviously, Preston is meant to be a Caucasian character. Playing a character who is white has been eye-opening for me, and it's allowed me to stretch as an actor to see things from a perspective of a white man dating a black woman. As someone who grew up in a mixed-race home, I know there has to be a willingness to be open-minded, especially for Preston. He has to be more understanding of the cultural differences that make Danni who she is, especially because in our society, white is the default. Again, it just makes it seem like Preston is the one that has to do all these things when it's really Danni who should be a bit more. I'm not saying one person should carry the load in a relationship. It's all about, matching your yokes. But at the same time, it isn't always about who puts the first foot forward. It's about who's willing to open the door of communication. Well, Jeremy, that's the same thing as putting the first foot forward. Yeah, kind of, but if you don't talk through things, it's just going to lead to an explosion of messiness. That's really messiness. I do like this little story at the end. The chemistry between him and Danni on set. He says it was a baptism by fire moment that has bonded them forever. On our first day of filming, we had never met or spoken or seen each other, and we had a sex scene. We were almost completely naked on the first day of meeting each other. While that was nerve-wracking initially, I feel like that served as the ultimate icebreaker. Once you let everything go, including your clothes, everything else is a breeze. Now we're completely comfortable around each other as co-stars and scene partners. I love it. So I will say this article is a great read. I just feel like it isn't fair that Preston has to quote unquote man up for Danni. So it's almost like he has to prove himself when really she's the one who needs to just woman up a bit and have an open, honest, I mean, not to sound sexist, but generally it's women who talk about how men don't communicate and whatnot. But Danni's been doing, I hate to say juvenile, sounds juvenile or whatever, but she seems to be acting like a bully in high school. Just, bullying Preston about his culture and whatnot. Preston or Trinity in the articles, like, Preston has to open his eyes and, learn more, be more understanding about the cultural differences. But, I mean, what's the point? Because every time Preston seems to be wanting to learn about how not to offend Danni as a black woman, to learn not to be insensitive to things, Danni's the one who's constantly mocking white culture. Oh, this bluegrass music and down at the rodeo and the whole down. It's just like Preston deserves better. That's all I'm saying. But let me know if you agree or not. Let's get the communication going in the comment section below. Trinity, cool dude. Maybe Lord willing, get this house thing set up, because I really would love to interview some of these characters, so that would be great. But with that being said, make sure you like and subscribe. Check out the article in its entirety. Like I said, I will leave a link in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you in the next one.